And in the nation's capital at the White House Monday morning, a defiant President Obama said Monday he is mad about problems with a new health care website, but argued that the Affordable Care Act as a whole is working as planned. Colin Campbell is in Washington, D.C. with more on the president's Rose Garden ceremony. Good day, Colin.
How you doing, Debbie? Good to see you. Yes, the commander-in-chief became the marketer-in-chief today, talking about the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, as it's also called. In a speech from the Rose Garden, the president talked about how the website did have glitches, but that it is being fixed, and he encouraged people who wanted health care to enroll in the website or call a special phone number so they could enroll and be enrolled by January 1st of next year. He became the drum major in a pep rally from the White House today as he talked about his frustrations with the website himself.
There's no sugarcoating it. The website has been too slow. People have been getting stuck during the application process. And I think it's fair to say that nobody's more frustrated by that than I am, precisely because the product is good. I want the cash registers to work. I want the checkout lines to be smooth. So I want people to be able to get this great product. And there's no excuse for the problems. And these problems are getting fixed. So here's the bottom line. The product, the health insurance, is good. The prices are good. It is a good deal. People don't just want it, they're showing up to buy it. Nobody's madder than me about the fact that the website isn't working as well as it should, which means it's going to get fixed. And in the meantime, you can bypass the website and apply by phone or in person. So don't let problems with the website deter you from signing up.
Gov already received more than 20 million hits. He did say that if you called the phone number instead, if you were having problems on the website, that it should take less than a minute. But of course, after he advertised the toll-free number, he said it may take a little bit longer to enroll, Debbie.
Indeed. He talked about the so-called tech surge to fix the problems. Any idea how long it will take to get them fixed?
Well, they didn't say how long it would take. He just said that special teams of people will be addressing the problem and that it should be fixed as soon as possible.
A bit of irony at this announcement in the Rose Garden. One of the people that was standing behind the president seemed to have a little bit of trouble or faltering.
Yeah, she did get a little woozy. Carmel Allison, she suffers from type 1 diabetes. She said under the hot sun, and she is also pregnant. All of those factors together made her a little lightheaded, but she said she was fine. She tweeted it out later, and she did express her gratitude to the president for at least reaching out to her and trying to help her up.
Indeed, and it can be tough just to stand there for so long. Colin Campbell, thank you so much for the update. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Well, the glitches on the healthcare website now have been identified, but people close to the project say that fixing the flaws may take weeks, according to a report in Monday's New York Times. Dr. Carrie Mantha is the founder and CEO of the technology company called Endura and is with us to help explain more about the possible bugs in the system. Carrie, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Debbie.
So in words that us regular non-tech folk can understand, what went wrong with this website fundamentally?
Sure. There are a few things that I think we've seen. One is the front end of the website, which is the part that we all see, and developers have seen some of the errors that are there. Those are small and don't appear to be what's causing the big problems. What's likely causing really big problems is where the site has to interface with other agencies. So interface with the system for the IRS and for HHS, and it's interfacing into really old systems, and doing that appears to be causing quite a few glitches.
Is this a matter of poor planning, or were these things that really you just couldn't see coming?
I think it's probably a combination. So from what we understand so far, the site itself was actually executed pretty quickly. So because of some procurement issues and problems with communicating with these contractors, they weren't able to start work until, from what we understand, possibly even as early as this year. And that's a very, very short time to build a very complex system. On top of that, as a tech founder, I can tell you, we're very used to launching something in a small way, testing it out, and refining it. And that wasn't the case here at all. So launching something to 50 million people who are looking for healthcare is quite a challenge.
Well, based on the nature of the problems as you understand it, how long do you expect these fixes to take?
So if we were talking about just front-end problems, we'd be measuring this in weeks. Talking about systems integration problems and data management is a problem we normally measure in months. So it's very unlikely that they'll be able to get something ready for this December 15th deadline. What's more likely is that the government will find some workarounds so that we can get as many people as possible registered, offline through the phone systems, in person, and through some workarounds online in time to get everyone through to March 15th, and then hopefully be able to create a bigger fix to the overall system then.
Are these expensive fixes?
These are not going to be cheap fixes.
That's unfortunate there.
Yes.
Now, I know that you've been on the site, kind of perused it. What are your general impressions of how the site is put together, the ease of navigating it?
Sure, I think that there's a good overall layout. I think it's aesthetically, it's friendly. They did large buttons, it's easy to read. So they hit a lot of the best practices. There are a few redundancies, and I think you see that in any new website where you could probably have a little bit more simplified information, fewer choices. And those are things that tech companies normally iterate on once the site is up. You understand where people are looking, where they're getting confused, and you start simplifying the site. But from the front end, I would say that the overall architecture, from what a user is seeing and just the user experience, looks very good.
I'm just wondering, I'm not asking you to make a political opinion at all, but of course, this website, as well as the bill, has been heavily criticized by the opposition party. But I think, isn't it sort of normal for a tech company when they roll out a new product that there are glitches? How unusual is it that they're having difficulty with a brand new website that services so many people?
Sure, I think it's unusual to have a tech company, like I said, roll out something to so many people. Normally, what we're accustomed to doing is doing a pilot, do a small test. I think the comp here would be, looking at one small state, getting those people online, and then using that experience, tweaking it, and then rolling it out larger. So I think probably that's where the tech world hasn't really seen eye to eye with the way the government has done things, is that smaller tests and iterations are really kind of the way we go about it.
So do you have any advice for users who want to go in and maybe get around some of these glitches?
Yeah, unfortunately, if it's an issue that's on the front end of the site, there are sometimes ways to navigate around it. When the issue is with how the site is handling data on the back end, it's very difficult too. The only things that we've heard are there may be a benefit to trying it late at night when the traffic is lower. Refreshing your cache in your system is one thing that may get rid of any old versions of the site that you have on your computer as the government is updating it, so there are new versions. Besides that, it's a lot of patience.
I've heard some criticism that that the technology used on this site was really old, previous generation technology.
Sure. Most of what you hear complained about, again, is that front-end part of the site, because that's what we can see. So developers can see much of that code themselves. So there will always be a lot of critiquing on that. There are some things in there that don't look quite as modern as we like to see them now. Those are things that you will see in other existing sites that were built a while ago. So while in the tech community we don't necessarily consider those absolutely best standard practice right now, those are not the things that are crashing the site.
Okay, and then finally, those things that are on the back end, the data integration, communicating with other systems, how optimistic are you that the government can make these fixes so that it works smoothly?
Sure. I mean, that's really hard to say without knowing exactly what they are. I mean, their big challenge, again, is working with very old systems from the IRS and from HHS, and they're having to have a very modern front end of a site that's now talking to a back end. And from what we understand, the back end was built by an entirely different contractor than the front end. So getting those two to integrate appropriately and talk to the old programs is going to be quite a challenge. I mean, I suspect that we'll be talking about this well into next year.
Oh, great. Just out of curiosity, do you know of anyone who's tried to enroll?
I know people who have tried. I don't know anyone who's succeeded, though.
Oh, yeah, that's bad news. All right, Carrie Mantha, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we'll talk to you again. All right.